Good morning, everyone. Jim Laird joining you live from Grand Pacific and Nicaragua. Had a little internet delay this morning. It wasn't working very well, so it kind of put me behind a little bit. And we're having some pretty good wind, so I've tried to reposition myself here so that we'd have minimal wind noise. I know I did a live from the beach the other day on my phone where the wind noise is pretty significant. So um, the weather here has been fantastic. I know a lot of people, particularly uh, where I'm where I moved from, Kentucky, are having a lot of fun with the cold right now. So I don't try to make you feel bad, but I spent a good half of my life dealing with you know temperatures well below zero Celsius and well below zero Fahrenheit. So I hope you're doing well today. I'm looking forward to getting back in a little bit of a rhythm. I have some guests coming on here that should be good here shortly. We're doing our weekly lesson this week, or masterclass that goes in the Fundamentals of Wellness course uh, with coaching. Is going to be called Strength Secrets. We're going to be talking. Dr. Stillman's going to be more or less interviewing me about kind of my approach on how I approach things, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So if you want to get in on that, it's a lesson. We're not selling you anything. Just get on the email list, stillmanwellness.com. There's a link in the description. There's a lot of misconceptions about, because I talk a lot about lifestyle. I talk a lot about, sleep and getting outside and all these things. Because most of the people that come to me are their lifestyles what's gotten them in trouble, right? And there's some people will say you can out exercise a bad lifestyle. I don't think that's necessarily uh, possible for most people, from what I've observed, anyways. So I really focus on the lifestyle component first, but you're going to notice a totally different side of me if you've ever watched me train people in person, particularly if you worked out with me in Kentucky. I would have anywhere between 6 and 12 people in the gym at a time working with them. And I could have an 80-year-old lady on one side of the gym. I could have a high level power lifter, and I have had, high level track and field people, professional baseball player in there at the same time, and then somebody else who's coming back off an injury, and each one of those programs is going to look totally different. My added, or if I'm working with an operator who's getting ready to go into some sort of testing for special forces, that's going to look totally different. The attitude's going to be totally different. The approach that I'm going to take is totally different. And then also, a lot of people really don't know what they want, right? They say they want X, but then when they realize how much, sacrifice and dedication it's going to take to get X, that it's going to take away from other areas of their life, they're like, oh, this isn't such a good idea, right? So honestly, when it comes to just looking good and feeling good, it's really, really simple. It's not that complicated. The other thing is to take into consideration, what kind of body type do you have? Are you long and slim, or are you short and wide like me? Or are you more like a kangaroo? You're really bouncy and snappy, or are you like a gorilla and you're just brutally? There's some people that are just stupid strong, right? And there's no really need to take somebody who's stupid strong and make them more like stronger. Like if I'm gonna get ready to, like, say you're gonna train me, if I was gonna get back into wrestling and jiu-jitsu and things like that, working on my maximum strength is gonna have very little return, right? But working on my strength endurance, working on my ability to move and be more efficient and have more gas, that's going to really pay dividends, right? So a lot of people will not understand what they're actually trying to improve or what they're actually working with. And then for most people, some real basic things. Most people have a horrible foundation. They don't have a really good general physical level of preparedness. You do some real basic things like bear crawls, farmer carries, push a prowler, some real basic warm up. You do some very simple, drills where they're doing some single leg hops and things like that are really simple. Even some light jump rope. They're going to see massive improvements in a very short period of time, and then you can add more on top of that. But most people want to skip levels. They want to go straight to fancy, and my apologies. Most people are not patient enough to enjoy the process, and that's why most people wash out. And that's why people get in a program. They start with something that's totally unsustainable, or they do a program that's totally overkill for their goals. You just want to look good. You just want to look good naked, and you don't need to train like a professional bodybuilder. You don't need to train 6 days a week. You know, so and most people, the way they do the exercises, I'll simplify things a lot for people where they're doing a whole bunch of really exercises that are kind of done half-assed, and then I clean it up for them and I make it a little more challenging, a little more difficult for them, and they're like, oh man, we did half the exercises and those just destroyed me. So it's better to do a few exercises really, really well than a whole bunch of them that are really cruddy, right? And then over time, you just kind of slow cook people. You just kind of get them a little bit better and a little bit better over time. And this kind of this one size fits all in the fitness industry, where everybody should be doing this, everybody should be doing that. As a strength coach, my job is to get the result that is needed with the least amount of pain and suffering as possible. To quote the great Mel Siff. And then, really, honestly, the most difficult part about working with most people, especially really busy people, is the food and the lifestyle part of it. Most of them will come into the gym, they'll do what they tell you to do when you're there, but then I used to have a sign on the gym door that said the real work begins now, and that's really the truth. It's easy for me, for you to come into the gym and spend 45 minutes to an hour with me doing everything I have you do, and then you go on your own and you're free the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and you can really annihilate things by not sleeping, drinking alcohol, not eating enough food, eating too late at night, all these things, not having the lights off at night. All these things can really wreck your progress, and then really what you do in the gym really doesn't matter that much if you're not recovering from it, right? So it's really a holistic approach, and then it's like, hey, if I've got a kid who's really struggling with being gassed, but the reason he's being gassed is he doesn't move very well and he's not very efficient. And we can work on getting him moving a little bit better and making him a little more efficient. We don't have to destroy him with conditioning. And then most of the time, most of the kids that I see that are struggling with conditioning, it's not because they're not doing like conditioning drills. They're doing plenty of conditioning drills for practice. Their low level aerobic base is horrible, right? So you'll have kids that are practicing several times a week, playing several games a week, and their resting heart rate's really high. It's because most of the work they're doing is high intensity. They're not outside for hours like we used to, right? For hours like we used to. So we add in some really simple body weight circuits, some sled, some easy cardio, and all of a sudden that heart rate starts coming down. All of a sudden they start having more energy because their aerobic engine's horrible. Instead of beating the crap out of them with more, intervals, let's take a look and see what's actually lacking. Let's see, is their heart rate coming down after they do? Is their heart rate coming down like it should, or is it staying elevated because one, maybe their breathing sucks, or their aerobic engine is horrible. So to learn more about all this sort of stuff, just get on the email list. Look out for the link to the webinar / lesson on Wednesday night. And I'll be talking about this on Thursday for a good hour and a half probably. And yeah, it's funny. Mark Bell, a guy named Smelly. I've known Mark for years. Good dude. He's got a company called Slingshot, which makes like kind of like elbow sleeves, knee wraps, that sort of thing. Bench press accessories to help you bench more, like a little, like it's like a bench shirt you wear. It's called the Slingshot. super smart guy, really good businessman, has a really popular podcast on YouTube. And he was very outspoken during the beer bug, was one of the few people in the fitness industry that stood up and said, hey, this is all crap. He's very outspoken against the the therapy, and he just got his entire YouTube channel taken away from him, just for his opinion, So we live in interesting times, so that's another reason to get on the email lists of Dr. Stillman and I. Disappear off these social media platforms. You can find us. So most of our stuff is back. My stuff's backed up on Rumble and Odyssey. So, but those platforms aren't as popular. But at least this stuff is somewhere, so you can find us if we disappear. And that being said, it's very difficult growing a YouTube social media channel right now. I do a Facebook or an Instagram live every morning. I used to have hundreds of people on my Instagram lives. And then when I ended up going in Instagram jail, I maybe have 10, 15 at the most. So it's very interesting to see what's happening with information and how they're really trying to crank down on the narrative, so to speak. Have yourself a great day. Make sure you get outside. We'll see you tomorrow. And get on that email list, stillmanwellness.com, so you can get on the lesson on Thursday. Take care, everyone.